Hello and welcome to another episode of the Middle Order Cricket Podcast. We're doing a very special one today with the PSL 2021 preview. I'm joined by supporters of several of the teams competing. We've got Khizar backing Lahore. We've got Waqas Mahmood backing Multan. Izzy, who's backing Islamabad United. And we've got our executive consultant to analyse the teams, Farrakh, Ashraf. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to kick off straight away and ask you, Khizar, how successful has the PSL been? This is the sixth season. Pakistan were a little bit late having a T20 competition, but how successful do you think it's been? Firstly, bringing cricket back to Pakistan.
I think at the time when it was started, it was the main purpose of it was to get cricket back in Pakistan. We've been out in the UAE. We've had some additions with some of the games in Pakistan. Then we were supposed to have all of the games a couple of seasons ago again, but great to see it back in Pakistan fully. We're limited to 2 grounds, which is a bit of a shame, but it's doing what it needs to do, unearthing new talent and showcasing some of the best that Pakistan have got to the rest of the world. And great to see it on Sky Sports this year, which with a really good production team out in Pakistan as well. So we should see some good quality level of broadcasting as well.
Waqas, do you want to just comment on what the PSL means for Pakistani fans in general?
I think it's a big thing for Pakistan fans, in Pakistan as well. They've been playing in Dubai for a while, and then, players when are going to go Pakistan, they'll think, it's a risk. But I think overall, being in Pakistan is a big thing for Pakistan. Obviously, they will have fans there, and hopefully, slowly, inshallah, when COVID goes away, it will be big. But I think overall, being in Pakistan is a big thing for Pakistan fans. Like they want to watch the PSL in Pakistan, not in Dubai. The fans are there. They're waiting for it. But even Khizar said, Sky Sports, that's a big thing. Being in Sky Sports is it's a big thing. You're going to have your commentators. You're going to have a lot of the other commentators, watching it as well. So I think overall, it's a great. It's great that it's back in Pakistan.
Yeah, it's a good point. Sky Sports have picked up the coverage this year. Farrakh, are you going to enjoy finally watching the cricket without squinting your eyes and trying to pick up where the ball is, having had to watch in standard definition for a few years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to miss the ham masala shows that came in the middle with all the cookery and all that kind of stuff. So my cookery is going to go backwards. But just, I guess, backing up what the guys are saying, I think the good thing with PSL has been that each year there has been an improvement, be it in production values, be it in terms of commentary teams, be in terms of the talent that's come through. And actually, we're seeing better international players get involved. It's a bit of a shame that we don't get a window like the IPL. But when you look at it, our players don't play the IPL, so it was very important for us. One, as Khizar says, bringing cricket back to Pakistan, but just from a commercial element, to get businesses involved, get people involved, generate some revenue. So I think it's been a success. Now it's in Pakistan. It's a shame with the pandemic, but I think 20% occupancy is still going to be there in Lahore and Karachi. So overall, it's moving in the right direction. And yeah, in the UK for it to be on Sky, and if you look at the commentators that are going to be covering it, such as David Gower, Pomi and Bangwa, and names from previous editions, I think it's really positive for Pakistan. And in general, I think it's competing right up there now with the top leagues.
Izzy, obviously one of the big motives of having your own competition like this is to unearth some talent. How successful do you think the PSL has been in doing that?
Yeah, really good, really successful. Each year it's taken place, there's been 1 or 2 names cropping up every time into that international team. And I think that's what's so unique about this particular T20 competition in terms of the rest. There seems to be something a little different. And the togetherness, whether it's the Pakistani nationals or the foreigners, there seems to be that togetherness within each team. You don't often see that when it comes to franchise cricket. Primarily, I'm guessing it's down to the fact that cricket is a bit like footballers are more interested in the big bucks. That's just my personal opinion. But in terms of unearthing new talent every year, we're seeing a few names crop up, and that's good for Pakistan. But it's also good for the foreigners coming. They're obviously getting to experience a unique type of cricket on the basis that it's slightly different for the reasons I just mentioned in terms of T20 cricket and the differences between the other leagues. So I'm actually looking forward to looking out for a few names, few of the young guys who are either knocking on the door or have made the squads for Pakistan, just to see how they get on. Because we know we've got a lot of talent in the country. Everyone knows that. It's just a case of, okay, now let's try and implement that. This is the best way to implement it. You got a good national setup, you'll get a good chance that the international team will do well as well.
Yep. And if we look back to the last 5 years, let me get a name from each of you as to who you think, one of the star performers has been and gone on to perform well at Pakistan level, or at least had an opportunity at the Pakistan level. Khizar, pick out a performer for me.
Shaheen from Lahore Qalandars, now the vice captain as well.
Yeah.
One of the premium pace bowlers in the world, I would say, in all formats.
Definitely. Waqas, a talent that has been unearthed from the PSL?
For me, I would say Naseem Shah as well. He's done well. I thought he's bowled really well as well at times, bowling right at Yorkers there. So for me, I would say Naseem Shah definitely.
Farrakh, have you got one?
I think actually Hussain Ali really came through. Had a bit of a dip, but now we're seeing the best of him again. So another guy that we saw first time in the PSL.
And Izzy, if you had to pick one?
Maybe some bias involved here. I'm going to go with Shadab Khan. I like the guy. I just like his whole attitude and the way he goes about his business. I want to see a bit more of him with the bat. Last year, first half, he started off really well. Season two halves for him. When his batting was going well, his bowling wasn't going so well. But when his bowling was going well, his batting wasn't. Slightly on the expensive side as well. So I'm looking forward to see how he goes this season. But yeah, yep. He's always contributing, and I like his energy in the field, just everything that he brings to the.
Yeah, Shadab Khan was actually going to be my pick as well as one of the most more exciting Pakistani players to come through this. So let's move on to the.
Sorry, because I want to interject here. I mean, if you look at that ICC Champions Trophy win, that squad had so many of PSL players that we'd seen, so like Fakhr Zaman and other people in the squad. So ultimately, they all got a chance probably because of the PSL. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen them and got an opportunity. So that, if you look at that squad and that team, it had PSL stamped all over it.
Yep. And that's exactly what the purpose of the PSL was from the beginning. If we move on to the teams, interestingly, we've got two fans of two of our loser teams represented here, in Lahore and Multan, who have yet to win a title. We're going to start with Lahore, and my executive consultant has some questions for you, Khizar, around Lahore.
Well, I guess because I mean, Karachi and Lahore, right? The PSL was kind of built around these two cities and teams, and I guess everyone thought Lahore would be the Tesla of the PSL, but for the first 4 seasons there was no charging points in the city, and they were just right at the bottom. Last year, a bit of a fluke. And what's wrong for me, Lahore? What's wrong? Is it the management? Is it the ownership? Is it the coaching? I mean, what's not clicked? I know because it was last year essentially an anomaly, and
I think Lahore, there was a lot expected of them, as you said. They're the heart of the country, especially the cricketing nation. Worst record in the PSLs combined. We've lost most games. We've got an owner who wears his heart on his sleeve. We've got a coach in Aqib Javed, who's been instrumental in unearthing new talent, and them along with Peshawar have made real strides to go out there and see if they can get new talent. Aqib Javed's had a lot of success with developing teams like the under-19 setup. They have not performed very well. They've had some really good players in the past. The results haven't come their way. But there's just, the Lahoris deserve more. There's just too much passion for the sport in that city. And was last year a fluke? I mean, they didn't start very well, but strong performances together. The problem, I think, has been the balance of the team. We keep kind of chopping and changing, and I guess that happens in most franchises. The IPL is still quite young in that respect. So to build up a core, I still believe we've got a really good quick bowl. We've got great fast bowling battery there. We've got Shaheen, we've got Dilbar, who was, picked out from nowhere, seems to suit the game, and we've got Rauf.
Who's picked
who's
up as well.
performed well on and off. But there's some good talent there. Where we've maybe suffered is, especially now with the spin department, we had Patel and Hafiz, doing that job. We've got Rashid Khan this year, but not for long because he's going to be away, which is, it's a bit of a shame. Somebody mentioned the fact that we don't have a window, which does affect us. We're going to have, big players. Rashid Khan's a massive player. This guy's right up there. He's number 3 in the T20 rankings. He's was it T20 Cricketer of the Decade as well? And that's, representing a team like Afghanistan, but a lot to do with what he's done in franchise cricket. But we're going to lose him. So that could be an area where we suffer. But yeah, I totally agree. We've not performed well, and there was a lot of it expected of us, and we got to get there. But we're still going to support our team. They've got the best color.
Would you say, like I said, it's I think if you're a neutral, you just love Rana Fawad, right? You want him to be successful. But is the point that he's too nice? Because you talk about Akib Javed, great coach, but is he good enough at the next level? Is he somebody who should be a number 2? Because, if that was another team, if that was, say, Karachi Kings, I think there would have been a change. Just more ruthless, they seem. This seems nicey nice. Everyone just keeps going, kind of mates, let's keep another season. We'll try our best. Whereas, they got to the final last time. There should have been some sort of urgency. You look at the captain. Is he good enough?
Look, as far as the captain's concerned, there's a guy nobody knows of. He's not a superstar. He's not even been around the national setup. But this guy is a Lahore Qalandars guy. These guys have been playing all sorts of different competitions. Lahore have played in the PSL. They've played in the T10s. There was another T20 competition in UAE. He's always there. They've got continuity. And I think that's where they need to build on. We can't be, we talk about Akib Javed. Is he the number 2? No, I don't think so. If you look at all the coaches in the PSL, he has got some of the most coaching experience. So the owner, like I said, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's not going anywhere. And Akib Javed has been given the reins along with the captain. So they've got that continuity. They've got to build a core squad that they can retain people from. And they were quite keen on retaining Patel this year. And you would think, anybody outside the PSL, but he's performed. And here's a guy who's done it in T20 competitions in England as well. So I don't think, they've tried the big names. They had Gale in the past. They've had big names in the past.
They've had McCallum. They've had Gale. They've tried Jason Royce.
And we had McCallum step up for captain, step down. I don't mind the continuity. I think it's a good thing in the long run. It will benefit us. And this is not about building it for this year. This is about building a brand and a team for the long run. And I'm happy that they've stuck with the team that they've got.
And I'd certainly say, in terms of, I think this probably is their strongest squad when you look at. It's a shame Rashid Khan's not there. I think when you look at it, because they've had stars, as you see in the past, but I've always felt they've had guys at the top that might fire, but then they didn't have that core.
Yeah,
or they had a bowler missing.
I think they've got finishers. They've got Patel and David Wisa there who can do that job. They've got the pace. They've got Hafiz, who's in the form of his life in the middle order. They've got Farrakh Zaman at the top. We've got this year. We've got an issue. We've got Dunk, who's really done a great job in the past. He's out of form. But you look at his performances in the Big Bash and previously in the Caribbean League as well. So, but he's done the job now. We've got Zishan Ashraf, who's been spoken about, and he's a hard-hitting batsman and he's a keeper. Are they going to hand the gloves over to him? Is Dunk going to make room for one of the other internationals, or is Dunk going to play as a batsman as he has done? Do we keep him at the top of the order with Farrakh Zaman? There's a few questions. I think we're still light. If Rashid Khan had been available for the whole season, great. I think we're light on a spinner and light on a batsman.
Okay, we're going to come back to Lahore maybe at the end. Waqas, have you enjoyed watching Lahore finish bottom each year?
To be fair, man, I think with them is they start well and then I don't know, they just collapse. Every year has just been like they have started well. They've had like players like Brendan, AB. I'm sure it's AB as well, but I think for them is that they start well and then it just they just have a collapse. Like I remember, was it last year they were going really well, and then wickets fell, and then that was it. They made about 120, 130 all out, where they were 85 for one. But
Can I come in here? A point I want to make is, if you look back at this last season, the season before, there was a lot of tight games that went down to the last ball, and they were on the wrong side of it. A lot of them. We're not talking one or two.
But that's what makes
A
champions.
number of games.
That's what makes champions.
Exactly. When you get there, you can talk about it.
You can win 92 World Cup. It was those margins, but it's momentum. So
92 was a very long time ago. Let's carry on with the PSL, guys. Izzy,
living in the past. Farrakh.
Just very quickly, do you think this is the year Lahore are going to stop embarrassing themselves?
Look, they were in the finals last year. The only one embarrassing themselves.
I think
the host is embarrassing themselves.
Let's let Izzy answer the question.
We need to cut Lahore some slack. We've been a bit too harsh on them. They did well last year. There's absolutely no reason why they can't go on to play some more decent cricket. The problem I have with Lahore Qalandars is, from the first few seasons, apart from last year, barring last season, genuinely thought, okay, they're going to start playing well, which they did. They just lack the X factor. They lack. Apologies for that. They lack the X factor. They lack, again, a bit harsh. They don't have no big superstar, and it doesn't necessarily mean you need to have a superstar to go on to do well. But if you look at each other team, they'll have that one player who's world class, will take the game away. I don't see that play in that team.
Okay.
So may have some form of bearing, but to answer your question, I hope they do well, because I want all the teams to genuinely do well, generally speaking. And Lahore is that likeable team. One of the chaps just mentioned, maybe they are too nice, and that is part of the problem. So hopefully they can have another good season on the back of last season. Whoever said they had a crap season last season or weren't too good, come on, think about it. They were pretty good last year.
They were in the final.
Well, it seems Lahore have a lot of fans.
Well.
Yes, 1 season out of 6. Well done. If you enjoyed our first preview show, come and join us for the next one, where we're talking about Multan Sultans.